So today's session is going to be facilitated by myself. My name is Duncan, and we also have Andrew here with us.
Hello.
If you have questions throughout, you can pop them in the chat, and we will take a look at them as we go on, but we will be reading all of them at the very end. So if we don't get to them during the session, we will definitely get to them at the end of the session. All right. So over the last few months, we have been working on this project to transition all of the libraries, staff, and headquarters staff from the Polaris desktop client over to the web-based Leap. And we've been calling this project Leap to Leap. We're going to talk a little bit more about what Leap is specifically, but we want to give you an overview of what we've been working on and what we are planning so that all the staff at YRL are aware and are on the same page about what is coming down the line.
So in October of 2025, which is a year from now, maybe a little less than a year from now, we are going to go through another Polaris upgrade, at which time we will be removing Polaris from all of the computers in the region. So at that point, all staff will access the ILS through Leap exclusively. So there's some upgrades coming between now and then, so that hopefully none of our processes are going to be disrupted while we make that transition.
So what we're doing with this project is we're spending the time between now and then letting all the staff in the region know about these changes. We're preparing resources and training to help staff make the change, and also to support and troubleshoot any issues or concerns that may come up during this transition. So this is our timeline, our Leap to Leap timeline, and we are in the beginning of phase 3. And that includes hands-on training sessions and the webinars throughout the winter all the way until summer of 2025. Okay, so information about these phases and any existing resources we've created are available on the YRL intranet, and we will show you that at the end of our PowerPoint here. Now, we can't make any physical changes to Leap ourselves as we didn't create the product, but there is a process from Innovative, which is the company that develops Leap, for future Leap changes and ideas, and this is called the Idea Exchange. So this can be accessed at the web address of ideas.iii.com, and basically you would submit your idea, and then the community would vote on their favorite ideas. And the ones that hit the top spots are then worked on and developed by Innovative. It is a democratic system, and you are free to create an account. So it doesn't have to come through YRL. You can actually create your own account and post.
So all of these changes to the ILS they're going to affect circulation, reporting, ordering and billing, IT services, cataloging, library administration. It's going to touch everyone in the region in one way or another. You can always reach out to us, especially Duncan and myself, with any questions that you have about Leap, especially if staff are asking about things. We might not know right away, but we can get you those answers. We can talk to Innovative, and we can help you kind of work through any of those sticking points that you might find.
We're going to move into a little bit about Leap. So currently, Polaris is our ILS, or our integrated library system, and it is a software that brings together many of the tools that a library requires. It houses databases of items and patrons that we can search through and edit, and it also connects to the catalog so that patrons and users can request materials and see information from their accounts. So Polaris and Leap are essentially the same tool, except for a few minor differences. Polaris is a desktop app, so it needs to be installed onto a computer, whereas Leap is web-based, so it can be accessed on a web browser that has an internet connection. And that's one of the more exciting uses for Leap, because libraries can now take these tools out of the library, and you can go and sign up new patrons or check out materials from an iPad or a laptop when you're doing outreach, like visiting schools or attending community events.
Another big difference is the interface. So the visual look and the menus of Leap look quite a bit different. Polaris still has that kind of Windows 95 menu look to it. There's also those the colored images and the dots in the menu, the picture buttons, and those can be kind of hard to interpret, and they don't really mesh with modern design principles. So Leap uses a more modern interface. It's more accessible and user friendly, at least easier to understand. The tools do almost identical things. There are a few tasks that one can do and the other can't, but Leap is rapidly adding and updating those tasks. Polaris, on the other hand, is not getting updated in the same way. So eventually, Polaris is going to reach a point where it's no longer supported by Innovative, and Leap becomes the primary app. And one note on that too, when we talk about Polaris upgrades, that's kind of just the name of it. But what's happening in the most recent Polaris upgrades is that Leap is getting upgraded and Polaris is not getting a lot of upgrades. So that's something that's going to continue to happen until Polaris eventually goes away.
All right, so that's a bit of a background of what Leap is and what our transition project aims to do. So now we're going to spend a bit of time getting acquainted with Leap. And this isn't going to be a super in-depth session. We don't expect that you can walk away and start intensely using Leap today, but we just want to familiarize you with Leap and the user interface. We have a list of priority items we want to show you in Leap so that you become familiar with them. However, before we jump into Leap, we're actually going to go to the intranet. So this is the YRL intranet. And if we go to Polaris and Track, we have a Leap page. And this is a page that houses all of the resources that we've created, as well as any information on Leap itself. At the top here, we have a couple of different login links for Leap. We have an internal login link, and then we have an external login link. So the internal is going to be used for staff computers inside the library, and the external is going to be used on library computers outside of the library. You'll notice in the URL, the external login link says external, and the internal link does not have that. So just take note of that when you are using either link. We also have a self-assessment checklist that we've added. And so this can be used to help yourself or staff keep track of the different functions in Leap and whether you are familiar with them or if you need additional training on them. But it goes through all the primary functions. If you scroll down a bit, we have some quick start guides if you want to just jump into some basic functions. We have our timeline. And then we have just under 20 quick training videos. And these are each a couple minutes long. And they go over all the different features of Leap that are required to run your library. So these are available here. They're also on the YRL YouTube channel and on the YRL Staff Academy through Niche Academy. We also have updated the Leap or the item record training to Leap item record training. Okay. And finally, at the bottom, we have a link to a Leap training server. So this is a new feature. Oops, clicked out of it. It's basically the same as Leap. It just uses yesterday's data. So this is a great way for you to go in and explore all the different features of Leap without fear of making any edits or changes to like patron records or item records. So if you want to just explore and create record sets and experiment on how all that is done, I recommend using the training server. And you'll note it is the training server because in the URL, it does say training, whereas the internal link does not have that training in it. All right. So we're going to log in to Leap. All right. When you log in, it's going to ask you to select your branch. going to use the same Polaris login credentials for your username and password as well. And then it's going to give you a list of workstations to pick from. And you're going to pick the workstation that you're working at. And these are usually posted somewhere on the computer or laptop that you're using.
You should have a white label with black text somewhere on your computer that'll have a string of letters and numbers. And that should tell you which workstation you're using. Okay, so we're going to take a little bit of a tour around Leap now and try out a few of the functions. Actually, real quick before we jump into that, I'm just going to check that there's, see if there's anything in the chat. We're all good. Okay. Okay, so let's start with searching and the find tool. So you'll see at the top here, we have this quick search bar, which is going to be the first place that you go to try and search for stuff. If you make searches in here, this will bring up patron accounts and bibliographic records. It's not a great way to search for item records. They won't come up with keyword searches here. But if you scan a barcode, an item barcode into this, it will bring up the item record. So this is just a really quick search function. The main way to search in Leap is through the find tool, which is using this little find button here. And so the interesting thing about Leap, the way it does searching, is it combines all of the different search and find tools that we had in Polaris into one, right? So in Polaris, you'd have your item record search, and your bib record search, and your patron record search, and your record sets. Each of those had its own different menu that you had to bring up to go and search for it. The find tool is a bit different. We can do that all in one place. And that's all facilitated by these 4 options at the top of the search here. So right now you can see we're looking for a bibliographic record, doing a basic search for keywords, keyword all. So if we click on this, we can choose which kind of search we want to do. So if we wanted to do an item record search, we can click on that. And we can change this, what exactly we're searching for. Instead of keywords, we can look for assigned branch or other criteria like that. One thing to note here, when you click the find tool, it's defaulting to bibliographic record. This is the favorite search right now. If you want to change that, if most of the time you're looking for patrons or item records, what you can do is you can favorite them here, or you can select them and then favorite that search here. So you can see save the current search in the column settings. So all of these settings up here will get saved, and then that becomes your default search in the find tool. So it's just a nice way to set that stuff. Filters. Were we doing item record searches for that before?
Yeah.
Let's just take a search here for item record. And then, okay, so we have 2 ways to get here. There's a little, looks like a little golf tee in the menu here. That's your search filter. And then you can also get to it through the little hamburger menu. And so search filters allow you to add additional conditions on top. And so you can see we can just keep adding conditions. Whereas in Polaris, when you're in the find tool and you're doing a search, you can usually only add 1 or 2 kind of criteria to your search. You can get really granular in Leap, and you can just add all sorts of criteria and narrow down those searches. So let's reduce this, and let's pick a branch. I'm gonna pick on Upper Beach. And so what we're going to see here is down at the bottom is going to show us the number of results. One point to make here, I'm sure we're all used to doing the Control-Shift-A in Polaris, which is going to it's going to say, you know, 200 out of 10,000 results, and you control shift A, and then all the results show up. That's not the case in Leap. All of the results always show up. You don't need to expand the results. This kind of looks like that, but what this is actually telling us is that for our search of dog, filtered by branch Alberta Beach, of the 10,000 plus results that we got initially, only 200 of them actually apply. And so all 200 of those are going to be in this search. Okay, so that's a bit about filters. Just kind of check the chat again because I saw there was a couple pop up there. Awesome. I will come back to those questions in a little bit. Okay, so now we'll show you the work form tracker. And actually first to do that, I'm going to open up a couple of work forms. And up patron record, everyone's favorite Ted Danson. And then we'll do another item record. Okay, so the work form tracker can be found in this top left menu here. So we're going to open that up. We can pin this, which keeps it open all the time, which is a nice handy little feature. And what the work form tracker does is it keeps track of all of the records that we currently have open. So this is something that we heard from people. We went out to a couple libraries and asked about how they were using Leap and Polaris. And people were asking, well, you know, how many windows can I have open? Because in Polaris, every time you open a record, it's a different window. So instead of having, you know, 20, 30 windows open on your computer, they all just kind of show up in here. So you can just filter back and forth between them by clicking on them. They're all right there. When you're done with them, sorry, I'll close the notifications. When you're done with them, there's just a close button here, and that'll actually close them out of the work form. So you can see there that we're closing those out. A really nice feature that Leap has that Polaris does not is this recent tab. So this shows us recent records and work forms that we've been working on that we have closed. So I'm sure you've all been in the situation where you were doing something on a patron account and then you closed it and then you realized you needed to change something, but you didn't remember the name or the barcode. And so now you can just come here and see which records you had open recently. Currently, this just, it'll display 2 of each kind of record, but you can actually change that if you go into the settings here. There's an option. Actually, I'll just take a quick look. So here you go. In the work form tracker, you can set this to show more recent records if you'd like to. So there's a few things you can change in there. Anything else on that? No. Okay. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to mention that will just fit in here is something that we couldn't do in Polaris was change the size of the screen, change the size of font, things like that. We've had a lot of people ask about making things bigger so it's easier to see. Nice thing about Leap is that it is in the browser, so you can use your browser zoom settings to kind of change the size of things. So an easy way to do that is you can hit Control and then scroll with your mouse wheel. Hopefully you can see that that's making things bigger in my browser here. And then you can also go into your browser zoom settings and do it that way. But that's just a nice way to make things a little easier to see, just a little tip. Okay, so we're just going to go through some of the individual work forms to show you where the information that you might be looking for is, just to kind of familiarize you with what's going on here. So we'll start with an item record, and we'll close the work form tracker there. So this is going to be the default page that shows up when you are looking at an item record. All of the sort of on the face of it information is going to show up here. You got your title, your author, your barcode, call number, all of that information. There's a little bit more quick information here. If you hover over this eye, it's going to show some of the same information and then some sort of core information like creation date and things like that. So circulation is the default tab that pops up here, and we'll see a little bit of the information about circulation for this item. This row here of tabs is going to be kind of the same as all the tabs you would have seen on the left-hand side of the item record in Polaris. All the same information is going to be there. It's just organized in a slightly different way. So looking in details, we can see this is what would pop up on the item record if you opened it in Polaris. These fields where you can edit the barcode and the branch and the shelf location, all of that information. So this is all editable. It's just structured in a slightly different way. So we looked at circulation, blocks and notes. This should be familiar, all of the different areas for you to put your notes and text and blocks and things like that. The item history, so that's all in one place. That used to be on the bottom of a tab in the item record. Now it's its own tab with all that information. Some of these statistics, year-to-date and lifetime statistics and circulation about the item. Any record sets that the item is in, you can see those, and you can actually click on those, and that'll open up the record set. This is a piece one, so I'll just leave it. Any notices associated with the item, and then the source and donor finance information, if that's been filled out for the item. So it's all the same stuff that you would normally see. We also have the actions and the links menus up here. So this would be for if you have the item record open, you could check it in from here. You can place a hold from here. You can copy it. You can print the label directly from here, add stuff to record sets. And then your links, this will just bring up the holds queue for you. So that's all of your information about the item record. So we'll take a look at close all those work forms, take a look at a patron record. Okay, so you can see off the hop here, this patron has expired and the address check is in the past. So those notifications are going to pop up for you when you open a patron that has blocks on the account. So similarly, I say this a lot, but all the same information is going to be here. We'll actually just start up here with the blocks and notes. If a patron account has blocks, this will be red. If a patron has notes, this will be yellow. If they don't, these will just be gray text. So if we click on blocks, we can see what blocks are associated with the account. And if we click on notes, we can see which notes are associated with the account. So when we open the patron account, it defaulted us to this registration page, and you can get there by clicking on registration here. And so this is going to be the patron registration information that you're used to. You can see it's all listed down the screen here. As we scroll through, we're just moving through these sections. But this is all of the information that you would have found in your regular patron registration work form. So along the top here, we have this list of tabs and menu options. This is a really nice way to just have the patron account at a glance. You can see how many items are out, how many items are overdue, what kind of fines there are on the account, if they have claims. So you just kind of get a snapshot of all of that account information at the top, which is nice. You can click on these and we can work through. So if you want to check out items, you can open the patron account and then just check them out directly. So you don't have to open the checkout work form in circulation like you used to. You can just do it directly from the patron account. And then we can see a little bit about these fields. So items out, charges, things like that. And all of these same charge functions that you would be able to do, adding charges, waiving charges, that all still exists here. Holds. It's grayed out because this account doesn't have any holds, but you can place a new hold here. You can see reactivate, delete, suspend, fill the hold. So that information is all here. ILLs, reader services. This is going to be, I believe, for outreach functions. Patron reading history is here, and then any associations here at the end. Okay, so that's a quick look at patron records. And then, and also just real quick, in the actions, you can also add patrons to record sets here. Before I go on to bib records, I just realized that I forgot something here. So we'll do a quick search. You can also add your searches to record sets. There's a menu down here at the bottom. So you can add the results to a new record set or an existing record set. I think you can also do that. Yes, you can also do that through record set options here. So you still have that function. And we will open up a bib record. So once again, all the same information is here. Preview is going to show you what you would see in TrackPack. So here's your brief record, your full record, all this information that is going to show up in TrackPack. This will show you all of the items associated with the bibliographic record, all of your marked fields, all that information is here. Any headings associated with the record. Again, bib statistics, any record sets that the bib record is a part of. I'm actually not sure what the resources tab is, and then more information for outreach patrons, which apparently I don't have permissions for. So from the bibliographic record, we can place a hold, a bib level hold here. You can create a new item from here. I've had a few people ask about creating items, and you can do it directly from the bib record. You can copy it, and you can add to record sets. And then in links, you can take a look at the holds queue, and you can open the bib record in TrackPack. Okay. And we have record sets. Let's bring up, let's look for a record set. So we just change our search function here, and we'll bring up one of our test record sets. And so you can see that by searching record sets here, I get bibliographic, item, and patron record sets all in the same result. I'll open some of our Yellowhead test patrons here. So yeah, you can see all of our patrons show up in the record set. Down here, there's some actions we can take. So add from file is an interesting one. You can bulk add to a record set. So if you have a text file or an Excel sheet that has barcodes all arranged, you can add that file and it will add all of those barcodes directly in. So you don't have to go scanning a bunch of items. That only comes up every once in a while, but I found that it's can be pretty useful. And then we have actions up here. So this is probably the actions that you're familiar with from record sets. So you're bulk changing and creating other record sets and things like that. Okay, that's record sets. I don't think there was too much else in there. When you're in the record set, you can actually click on these and that will open up the record directly as well. Close that. So we're going to take a look at some reports here in just a moment, but I did want to point out this new tab as well. So this would be where you go if you want to create a new patron record, a new bib record, a new record set. As I just pointed out, if you want to make a new item record, generally you do that from the bib record itself. So just so you know, this is where you can create new stuff. So we will take a look at some reports and a little bit, I guess, the utilities menu here. So the utilities menu, so there's two things in here that might be a little bit confusing. So we have pick list processing, and it's right next to request manager. So what I think is called request manager in Polaris is where you go to see essentially your pick list, the holds you want to pull for patrons. I think this is just the name has changed a little bit. So you will want to look at pick list processing. And this will show you all of the items on your pick list. I know some libraries I've talked to, going around pulling their holds using an iPad, and they just have this page open. And as they're doing it, they can check them off as located, or they can deny them if they're damaged or something, or they can mark the item as missing. So you can do that all directly from the pick list, which is kind of a nice little feature. And just to show you, the request manager is something entirely different. So what this actually shows you is what your library's patrons have on hold. So there's some interesting reports that you can run here, but it's not the same as pick list processing. So I just wanted to point that out for you. You'll also find in here that there's a little menu option for simply reports, so you can open that directly from Leap now. But let's take a look at some reports and notices. Okay, so you'll log in here using your regular Polaris credentials. So this would be for, if you're ever going into Polaris, what we call the canned reports in utilities, reports and notices. A lot of people run the custom reports in there. So this is the same thing. Once again, it looks very different, but it's actually just the same thing. So all of our folders are here. We'll go into the Polaris reports, and so you can see all the same options you would have had before: cataloging, circulation, custom, notices. And you can see all the reports that you probably would have run, like statistical summary and patron renewals and things like that. Do you know which one we ran last time?
Lost items, I think.
Yeah, let's run. So we'll click on one of these. I guess we don't even actually need to run it. Oh, we can. So when you click on the report, all the parameters are going to show up in the top of the screen here. So when it asks you which library you're running it for, or if there's a specific date range, all that information is going to be up here. So let's just select library, pick on Alberta Beach again, and we'll hit view report. So this should look familiar to you. This looks exactly the same as it does when you run them in Polaris. One really nice feature that we have here is that when you go to save the item, you can actually choose which format you're getting it in, if it's a PDF file or if you wanted it in Excel or Word or any of these. In Polaris, you have to kind of do it in reverse. You have to choose which file type you want to run, and then you run the report, which is a little bit inconvenient. Sometimes it takes you 10, 15 minutes to run a report, and if it's in the wrong file type, that can be a little annoying. So here you can save it after the fact, which is quite nice. So we'll go home again. One other feature of the reporting service that is not in Polaris is the ability to save favorites. Oh, we don't actually have anything. Oh, we're on my account and I don't have anything favorited. So let's go to Polaris and go back to custom, and what we're just on lost items. So in the top corner here, we have these little dots. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to add that to my favorites. So now when I open up reporting and I go to my favorites, this report is ready to go. So if you have reports that you run all the time and you want them to be easy to find, or maybe you find a report that you don't run all the time and you don't want to forget it, you can throw that in your favorites there. Another nice feature that's not in Polaris is the ability to subscribe to reports. So this is a way for you to schedule reports to be run and emailed to you at a specific time. So you can edit the schedule here and choose when you want to have the report run, how regularly you want to have it run, the beginning and end of that. You can choose which email you want to send it to, and then you choose the report parameters down here. So this is a really nice feature that you can schedule those reports in advance and have them run for you regularly. And I think that's pretty much it for reports. Oh yeah, also another nice thing here is that you can search for reports. And that'll bring up reports. So you don't have to scroll through all the reports trying to find the one that you're looking. Okay, and I will bring us back here. And then let's answer some questions. Actually, I probably have to go back to Leap to answer some of these questions. So can you make more than one favorite? No. The favorite option, essentially what it does is it just selects your default search option. So you can only choose one currently. Is there a way to set assigned branch as default, like you can in the desktop for item record search? Leave and show there. And then which one of these was
That one maybe.
that one?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't believe so. We can test it out right now and see. Or no, item records, and you want to search by assigned branch. I think it's only going to save these 4 columns here. I don't think it's going to save what's in the search here. So I'm going to close that, open it up again. Oh, that actually just defaulted to bib record. So I'm going to save item record. So it saved, yeah, it saved item record, basic search. It saved assigned branch, but it didn't save which branch. So no, it doesn't look like you can default it to a specific branch. Are there any other questions that we can look into here? Bulk holds for patrons. Okay, bulk holds for patrons. So is that for if you had one patron and you wanted to place a bunch of holds for them at one time. Okay, let's take a look here.
Mode in the check-in screen, right?
In the check-in screen, yes, but to place holds, just curious if we can do it from here. So you could do one from the find tool. That's a good question. I'm going to get back to you, Jessica. I know you can place bulk holds from a record set, I believe. I'm not sure if you can place bulk holds directly from the patron account. Let me try that out and see if I can come up with a way to do that. Because that's what a lot of this is for us right now, is learning essentially the same process that we used to do, how we do them in Leap. So bulk holds for patrons. Okay. You can't delete multiple record sets at once. Can click on multiple record sets for the search results screen. Okay, so that's actually a really good point. So if we look for record sets, and let's do RYRL test. So if you wanted to delete them, I think you're right, you do have to actually go into them. But one way we can make this a little bit easier for you. So you're saying that you would come in here, you would delete the record set, you'd have to search for them all over again. There's actually a little button here that says results. And you can click on this and it will bring you back to the search results page. It's not immediately obvious, but yeah, it's a really useful way to bring you back there. So you don't have to do that search every time, especially if you're adding a whole bunch of parameters into your search. Hopefully this makes things a little bit easier for you. The results for the patron hold. Yeah, I'm going to take a look at that, and then when we email out the video for this, hopefully, I'll send along any answers for that and any other questions that I can answer here. So does anybody else have any other questions we can take a look at? Okay, looks like that might be it for the questions today. So I think that's it for us. Hopefully you learned a little bit more about Leap. We're going to be doing, hopefully coming out to libraries in the next little while. If your library is interested in having us out to do a little bit of training or to talk about Leap or anything like that, let us know. You can reach out at AskYRL at yrl.ab.ca or to either of us directly, and we can get that scheduled. Otherwise, if you have any questions about Leap, feel free to ask. Send us emails. Again, we don't always know everything right off the hop, but we will look into it and we'll figure it out for you. Yeah, thanks so much, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.